yeah, so Dad was born in Delta. Lived there for a while. Moved to Newton with my mom. I know that, and eventually Surrey, where they had their family house, and where I was brought home to, and eventually Hayden. Dad worked all over and went to school at BCIT, where he did his sheet metal and machining. In 1991, he and my mom got married at the Surrey family house of my mom's, as I'm sure a lot of you remember from the ceremony. Shortly after that, 94, I came along, and a couple years after that, then came Hayden. Yeah, so we spent a number of years in Surrey. I'm sure, as you all can remember, the house coming there. Lots of parties, lots of social events, just making it a loving family home. After a while, we ended up making the decision to come up to the Okanagan, be closer to other family, and try to make a new life for all of us. Moved out to Parker Cove, built our house, and enjoyed the summers living on the lake, having our boat, and just cruising and having a good time, as Dad liked to do. Being in Parker Cove in a nice gated community, it was nice and social, which was perfect for Dad. As he enjoyed walking up and down Lakeshore and finding patios to join in on. Absolutely, yep. Between our house, Chris's house on the water, and Javel's house on the corner, all over, just wanted to have a good time. That's where Hayden and I mostly grew up. That's where most of our memories come from. Hayden can attest to that. Just spending time on the water and living on the lake was probably one of the best choices that they made for us. Just a really opposite experience from living in Surrey. Exactly, basically living at a vacation house. So it was an amazing life. Eventually, Hayden and I moved out. Hayden started having a family. I tried starting a career in the Army, but medical reasons I didn't do that. Hayden's continued to grow his family, and we've all kind of lived our separate lives. Unfortunately, after a few years, Mom and Dad decided to split up and carry on with their lives. Unfortunately, of course, with that comes selling assets. So unfortunately, that house is no longer in our name, as much as we would have liked it to. But after that, I'm sorry to say, the relationship did deteriorate to the point where none of us were really speaking to Dad around his passing, which is regretful, of course, but stuff happens, and we can only celebrate him going forward. But besides that, we remember the experiences and memories that we made. How many weekend nights, Dad trying something new on the barbecue, and different
Whether burning his hair off or not.
the experience of nearly burning his face off. It was always something new with him, trying to perfect different recipes. I think both me and Hayden are the men we are because of the lessons that he taught us, the experience he gave us, and the skills that he taught us. So,
Thank you, Dad.
yeah, thank you, Dad, for all that you did for us and for giving us the life that you wanted for us. Thank you.
Job, Jen.
Well done. Well done, Jamie.
I'm Jody, Mick's annoying little sister. Little.
Nobody thinks you're annoying.
Little.
Anymore.
So, I'm 2 years younger than him, and I always looked up to him. First, thank you all for coming. This means so much to me. I have a lot of fond memories of him. I looked up to him a lot. And just this past week, I was thinking of memories that stood out for me. And when we were living on 144th, there was down the street, I was 5, Mick was 7. Down the street, there was this huge ravine, like huge. And Mick thought he'd make us a rope swing to go across it. And Mom didn't know where we were. Mom and Dad didn't know where we were, and they found out and just were horrified. You know, this was another good idea of Mick's. And you know, we went to school. It was about 2 blocks away from us, and I remember our dog Goldie. And you know, me and Mick would walk to school, and Goldie would come. He would hear the school bell. He would come and walk us to and from school. And then I was really proud of him. Like, you mentioned his cars, and what stood out is I think he was 15, and he bought this 57 Chevy. And it was, I don't know if you remember the old radio station, LG 73. So it had all these yellow stickers all over it. And like, he stripped it down and rebuilt that car before he could drive. And I remember him building the engine in his bedroom. Mom was horrified. He had it up on, he had a hoist and everything. It's all like in his bedroom. And you know, it's cool because Shelby sent me a picture last week of Hayden in the backyard with an engine on a hoist, and he's building it. Cardboard. Thank you. So, Sean's or Mick's friends would remember this, and family too. But our house on 82A had a carport. One side was the house. The other side, there was 3 poles. And my dad came home drunk one night. And Mick went out there, took his car, and was going back and forth, so it's sideways in the driveway, like in the carport. There's no way anyone could park like that. My dad got out there in the morning, didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. I don't know how he got that car out, but you know, Mick had a good sense of humor, and he did always want to get me in trouble. There was one day I was smoking out my bedroom window, about 14, and he was working on a car down below, and I couldn't see him. So I'm done my cigarette, flick it out there, and landed right in front of him. He grabbed it, ran upstairs. I swear he touched 4 steps. Ran upstairs and said, "Look at this is Jody. Look what she just threw out the window, right? Just to get me in trouble." And you know, it was when he moved up to Parker Cove, we didn't really have much contact with him. And but I know, like, I just really admire him. He was really smart, you know, building and restoring cars. And I used to admire him so much. When he did that at home, I would just stand out there and watch him, and it's like, wow, you know, he takes apart things just to see how it works. And he could put it back together again the way it was, right? Or better.
With
So,
a lot of spare parts.
with a lot of spare parts left over. Don't need those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really happy this was put on, because I know towards the end, you know, his life got pretty small, and that's not who he was. There was so much more to him, And I have personal experience about that. You know, I have the same issue he does, and it's not easy, and it's not a choice. It's not a choice. It's a disease, and yeah, I'm really happy everyone is here. It just warms my heart. You know, he had a lot of people that loved him and were, you know, yeah. So thank you.
Jeremy summed it up pretty good there. Yeah, as sad as it was towards the end of his life, you know, Dad was smart. He was fun to be around for sure. I take a lot from him and what I've learned, and like what Jeremy said about how he's shaped us. Like Jody said, I had car issues with my Suburban, happened to be a Chevy, Dad's favorite brand, so I felt, you know, honored to pull the motor out of my Suburban in the driveway on the weekend and just hope that it goes back together properly. It's still sitting in the driveway right now. It'll go back together eventually. 2 months. The motor's only been out for a week, but yeah. Yeah, I've been faced with a lot of things throughout life, and just reflecting on Dad's ability to kind of move through things and persevere. I feel that a lot, you know, whether it be motor things or technical things. You know, emotionally he wasn't always there to talk to you, but that's where our mom came in, so together they made a pretty good team. Yeah, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Yeah, I know, I didn't write nothing down. Just winged it. Yeah, I just like to remember, and I want everyone to remember how smart he was and how joyful he was at you know, his prime. And to take all that from him and be able to carry it on, it's nice. It's comforting. And I'm just glad that he taught Jeremy and I as much as he did willingly. You know, he wanted us to kind of take on what he knew at the time and kind of pass that down, if you will. So, yeah, it doesn't matter kind of what happened towards the end of his life, but yeah, I'm proud to call him my dad for sure, because he's left us with a lot, and I just want to cherish those memories and the experiences, and yeah, honor him in that way. So it means a lot to me that some close friends and family all came today. It's awesome. So yeah, let's just keep it light and breezy today. Share some good memories, and yeah, try not to cry too much. Thanks, everybody.
Good job, Andy. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Young, and I was one of Mick's best friends. And I'm just going to tell a short little bit of a story. But Mick, I met him in grade 5, and our relationship continued on, and basically until they moved up to Parker Cove. And Mick and Tom and Sean were, like, I didn't have brothers. They were my brothers. We did everything together. And Mr. and Mrs. Bell, as they will always be known to me. And Jody, the little shit. She was an absolute riot to have hanging around as a Mick's little sister. She was always, yeah, no, he didn't, but she was always yapping. Wonderful, wonderful memories. But I had the privilege, from my perspective, Tom and Sean are going to share their perspectives. From my perspective, Mick was, he was, when you talk about being able to figure stuff out, it was next level. And when you saw what he became And I'm not talking about his demise. I'm talking about what he became as a person and as an individual. He was a wonderful human being. And the way he went through life, and I had a front row seat to watching him work on bicycles while we're playing road hockey, the lawnmower engines, the cars,
Go-karts.
I think Tom's going to talk about it. I don't want, you know, he buys a welder, an arc welder. And we're playing hockey, and I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I've got a welder. What's a welder? We're like 9. Are you playing hockey? And it was just next level stuff. And we all admired that about him. And to watch him be able to do the things that he did, we all saw it. You know what I'm talking about. But to be able to be there with all these guys, and I'm going to talk about Tom and Sean a lot because it was the 4 of us, and Kurt would kind of come and go at different phases. But in those early years, those junior high and high school years, we were inseparable. And Mick, for a while there, he would just disappear after school, and he's like, "Where are you going?" "Well, I'm going over to Uncle Roy's." "Like, what are you doing?" "I'm restoring a car." "Really?" Okay. We just weren't necessarily there yet, and I wasn't anyway. Tom and Sean, but I wasn't there yet. And then shortly before his 16th birthday, if I have everything correct here, this beautiful 66 Comet convertible shows up in his driveway. And we're looking at it like, what is this? Well, me and my Uncle Roy did this. And we're just gobsmacked. Like I'm riding a 10-speed. What is that? And so he probably this is like 2 weeks before he's 16. He probably put 100K on that thing in the driveway. And on his 16th birthday, he goes and gets his learners. And back in the day, 2 weeks later, he's got his license. 2 weeks later, so he's 16 and a month, and he's got this beautiful car. And for the first time, the 4 of us pile into a car. And that is a whole adventure on its own. All of the things that we did when that type of independence and mobility, and that was all Mick. And that shaped who we are. But the story that I want to tell is just a fragment from high school. And Tom's the victim in this, and he was such a good sport. But Mick and I decided it would be a brilliant idea to take a spare together in high school. So that meant that, you know, you had all your classes, but no, you got a spare. That means you're supposed to study, you do nothing. Mick and I had that together. And we had, the 3 of us had our lockers together, and our plan was to torment Tom. Because he was in, you know, algebra, advanced, whatever. And I'm in basic math simplified. It actually said that on my textbook. Basic math simplified. And I don't understand this. And so Mick says, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the rotor out of a motor and a battery charger, and I'm going to run a wire. And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? And so he brings everything to school. Tom's off. It's just the 2 of us in the hallway. Puts a battery charger in my locker and plugs it in because I'm near a plug. Puts the rotor assembly in Tom's locker. And with these things, they don't create electricity unless they're spinning. It's the spark plugs and all that. So he rigs a wire up to this thing so that when Tom's door opens, it spins it, creates the electricity. He's got this bare wire running down to the bare metal handle on his locker. So it's just brilliant. I'm watching it. What are you doing? We're pulling that door, and it's just arcing like. And we're standing there. When everybody's in the hallway now, and Tom comes out, he's like, wait, yeah! And throws his lock, and it goes, people start kicking it down the hall. And even Tom was standing there looking at it going, what the hell is this? He was actually impressed with it. It was you. So the next one, I didn't know he did this, but he decided he was going to build a bucket, like a sheet metal bucket, on a spring-loaded platform and fill it with baking soda. So he puts it in Tom's locker, and when you open it, it triggers it. So he opens, Tom opens the locker, and then boom, it's just this cloud of white smoke hits him. And he's standing there, and you know, there's 500 people in the hallway looking at him like, what's going on here? And it was, again, brilliant. He did this all in sheet metal class. The last one was a little less creative, and he says, okay, this is the plan today. I said, well, what are we going to do? What do you got? He says, I don't got much, but I got some pop rivets and a drill. So he drills out with a hand drill, holes through the door into the frame of Tom's locker, and he puts pop rivets in. Pop rivets, if you don't know what they are, they like, you got to drill them out to get them out. They're not screwed. So we're like, hey Tom, hey, and he's like, he opens, can't open. He looks at the pop rivets, and Mick says, yeah, here, you need this drill? It's a hand drill with a pin on it. He says, you're gonna want to drill those out, and then we just walk away. And the hall clears, and Tom's standing there, drilling out these freaking pop rivets. It probably took you an hour. And anyway, it was good, harmless fun, and he was a good sport about it. But Mick was he was hilarious, and I've got some other stories that aren't appropriate for here. But he would, if he was standing here with me, he would just be jumping for joy right now that we had that conversation, because it was just so much fun for him to do this. And that's just a really small example of the things that we used to do to each other. But we were a real supportive group, and we had so much fun. And the memories of Mr. and Mrs. Bell letting us use their basement for parties, or the driveway, and Tom's mom and dad letting us use their driveway, and Kurt's, like, we were always taking stuff apart. And Tom and I discussed, we sort of have the same takeaway, and this lives within me today, as I know it does for him, is that Mick gave us the ability to challenge ourselves. He taught me that if I don't know how to do something, try it. No matter what it is. Give it a try. You can do it.
Poor Tom.
Tom, you should have taken that spare.
I'm Tom Lloyd, one of Mick's buddies. I met him when he was in grade 4. The first thing you need to know about Mick is he was a fucking maniac. He's a lot of fun, but you're not the same kind of person. Like, I'm a bit more reserved, a bit slower, quite a bit slower, more calculating, whereas Mick was impulsive, and a lot of people describe him as smart, but I think he was more clever than smart. He was just fucking clever, right? And he was blessed and cursed with a high amount of energy, and insatiable thirst for knowledge. So, you know, stir all these up and you get Mick, right? And Mickey and I, we got along because we shared interests in mechanical things, and we just entertained ourselves with nuts and bolts and bikes. And Delta used to have an annual garbage day where you could throw out whatever you wanted. We'd ride our paper bikes around and pick up motors and ladders and hammers. Who knows what we're going to get. Vic bought a welder, and he's going to weld them all together and make we had no plan. We had no plan. It was always entertaining, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, but Mick usurped underneath the porch of his parents' house, and I'm 16, I'm got one eye open at the alarm clock. I could just get 2 more minutes of sleep, and then, if I really rush, I can get to school on time. Go up, pick up Mike or Mickey, and he's got the transmission of his car. He's been up since 6. So, the kind of things that entertained him was he'd think of something and then think of how to do it and then do it. And he wouldn't ask people how to do it. He would do it the way he thought that he could get it done. And, Jeff, Sean mentioned Google wasn't around at the time, right? He just would work at it. Things that maybe even Mom doesn't know about, like his room had a power window. One day he decided that I should mention that Nick wasn't very good at singing. I went up to his house and watch this, right? And he touches 210 volts together and the window slides in. He switches the wires, it touches and the windows goes back closed, right? Great. Or we liked Boston as a band, right? So he maps out on his wall the album cover for Boston. He paints it. He's not an artist. There, I wanted it. There it is. 8 hours later.
I remember that.
It was just over and over and over again. I'll wrap it up with my same takeaway as Jeff, and everybody should get this from Mickey, is if you don't know how to do something, it doesn't have to be mechanical. If you don't know how to do something, just start. And when you finish, you'll know how. And that kind of fearlessness is something that I have from Mickey. When he moved up here, sort of lost touch, and I dropped by a couple of times, some emails, mostly just kind of just your old car and stuff, and then it just kind of, and then the last 5 years I had a good childhood, and the 4 of us had a good time, and it was safe. We were just outside, we were just doing stuff. Jeff's parents were my parents. Vicky's parents were my parents. Sean's parents. Visit them. I used Sean's garage. We all used his garage to paint all our cars, right? We were connected. We were connected. And I miss that. It's good to see everybody. I haven't seen a lot of you in 20, 25 years. It's good to be connected. So, thanks for that. Thanks for putting us on. Thank you.
Sean, if you want to, or Paul?
I'm Paul Rampel. I met Mick through Tom in '84 at BCIT. We hit it off right away. And, anyway, I wrote a few things. A lot of it will be the same. I sense a common theme here with everything we talk about. We all agree Mick loved to party. Mick was a great friend. We had many good times. He was always willing to help with any project he had ongoing. He was an excellent chef. Meat was his specialty. His prime rib roast was the best. He loved Elon Musk for similar reasons. And that's the pre-Trump Elon Musk. He was a big conspiracy theorist. Big Brother was out to get us. He did not like the government telling him what to do. He loved to camp. Mick was a talented tradesman and designer. He was a journeyman in sheet metal and machining. He was a natural at many other: auto body, welding, pipe fitting, fabrication, mechanics, house construction, renovations, boat rebuilding ×2, classic car restoration times, I think I gotta add a few more, probably ×10, and of course, still making, and many, many more. There was nothing that he could not do. I feel bad we lost touch in the last year or so. Very, very sad. Miss you, buddy.
My name's Sean. I'm the fourth of the group. I kind of came into our fold, the four of us, a little later. I think it was grade 8. And so meeting Mick was interesting because my take on him, it's going to be repetitive here, but he was brilliant, fearless, which for him translated into mischievous, I think. And I say that in a fun way because just the projects that he would undertake, the mind was always going. You'd go, okay, you're going to Mick's house. What are we going to see today? I wanted the window story, but you took that one. But I think a part of that was, didn't he raise his bed first?
Yeah.
So you show up at his house, and you knock on the door. I think we just used to walk in because his room's in the basement there. And he's like, yeah, check out my bed. And he's like 2 feet from the ceiling, like it's an RV. At the same, I think it was the same time that he did the power window, and he's like, but I didn't want to get out of my bed to open the window, so that's why I did the power window. And he's lying in bed, and the window's open and closing. I'm like, really? Now the Boston emblem, he had to be converted out of listening to Eddie Rabbit all the time, if I recall. It was all country and windshield wipers hunted out of tempo. Well, there's this one day, Jeff and I don't think Tom was there for that. We're at Jeff's house, and it must have been a Saturday, and Mick was going to meet us down there, and Jeff says, check this out. And so Jeff's dad had a really cool, nice stereo system, and he cues up on the record Hell's Bells by AC/DC. Cranked, but it's not on yet. He says, wait until Mick gets here. So as soon as Mick opens the door, Jeff drops the needle, and you know, Hell's Bells goes, ding. All you hear is this, ding, ding. Mick comes around the corner going, hell? And Jeff goes, we're gonna convert you. It's time to listen to some real music. And he did after that. He hated every minute of it. But he really enjoyed, I think, just the group and the fun and the time. Where he was helpful for me, my first foray into our cars was a 62 Impala that Tom helped me buy. It was a beater, it was a mess. Bought it, brought it home. I was in my dad's garage. This is where we all decided it was a business we started, if you guys recall. We're gonna paint cars. So how old were we? 17, 18? And I said, Dad, can we use your garage? We'll pay you rent, really, we will. Can we use the garage to paint our cars? And we got people that want us to paint them for them. So anyways, we got the garage, we put poly up on all the walls. And this is Mick's invention. So we take the cedar siding out of the two sides of the garage, single garage door, put furnace filters in, buy this huge furnace fan mounted in the window on the other side so that we had ventilation pulling through all the overspray. And then Mick decides we need to buy a compressor, so he buys a 220 volt compressor
that we need to have a 50-foot extension from the garage into my house and have to unplug the dryer in order to have any. So then my dad and my stepmom are going, but we need to do the wash. But we're painting. That took control. My dad, he loved the fact that we were all there. And as Tom says, safe. It was a good place to be. But going back to, once the car was done, actually wasn't done. He came over, we're putting in the transmission, the new transmission, 4-speed, and he's like, I'll give you a hand doing that because I've never done it. So we cut a hole in the floor, we converted it, put it together. Now the car's gutted, there's no interior, there's no seats other than a driver's seat. It's a convertible, pops off, 4 different size tires. The car's never run. Started, but never run, open exhaust. So we connect the transmission, and we're like, okay, let's take it for a spin. The same garage. So he grabs a kitchen chair, so one of these kind of chairs, sits beside me here, and he's hanging on. And I'm like, okay, put it in reverse, back at it, chug in, back up, get it out. All right, okay. So you got it tops down, 4 different size tires, going down the alley, not licensed. I think it only had 1 fender on it actually at that time. So I put it in first gear, and it's like, okay, and he's looking at me, all right, well, it's going. Come out, and anybody that knows Surrey at all, I lived on the Old Yale Road, right on that really bad corner by Quantlet Park. So we get out onto this corner, you can't even see, so he's like, okay, get out there and hit it. Okay, we're on the open road. So I, in first gear, and I throw it in the second gear, and of course he's hanging on like this. and I go into second gear, and it's like, ugh. I'm like, what's going on? He looks at me. So then I put it in third gear, and it's like, he's hanging on. Put it in fourth gear. I'm like, what's wrong? He looks at me, he starts killing himself laughing. He's going, I put the linkage on upside down. That's second gear, that's first gear, that's fourth, and that's third. So, no problem, just pull in. He's in there 5 minutes, flips him around, go back out and do it again. Perfect. Perfect. So one last story. So now the car is finished, painted, top, running, great. So we're at your house, Mrs. Bell, and because it's an old 62, it had the old cartridge style filter on it. So I bought a kit to change it. And I'm like, can you give me a hand putting it on? He said, sure. So we're on the driveway, not in the carport, not beside, in the driveway. And we drain the oil, put this conversion kit on, put the new filter on. He's like, okay, fill her up. We put all the oil in, start it up. That sounds good. Look down, and it's like a murder. The oil is just all pouring, like pooling out from underneath the car. And he looks at me and goes, my mom is gonna fucking kill you. I'm like, pardon my language. I'm like, uh-huh. I said, why is it doing that? He's like, it's the wrong kit. So the entire 5 liters of oil on your driveway. He said, I'm getting the Tide and you're using the broom, so I'm out there trying to sop it all up and then mopping it with the Tide and the broom to try and make sure you didn't see any of that oil all over your driveway. Anyways, we could go on with the stories. Those are my personal ones. Story's gone. I'm glad everybody came out. And it's great to see you.
You guys called it safe, I'm not sure. I was the test dummy for Mick. Being 5 years younger, I'm Chris, Mick's younger cousin. I remember Mick's friends all very well. I remember riding in that said paper carrier of bike at high speeds, legs hanging out the front, terrified. Many times. I also remember Mick saying, hey, just put your finger on the chopping block, and when I bring the axe down, move your hand. It worked twice. Third time, he got my finger, took the end of it off. Auntie Terry says, oh, it's not bad, we'll just tape it up. You guys go to the boys club. And off to the boys club we went. Yeah, lots of good times. Parker Cove, all the Carlson boats we had, everyone had a Carlson glass rod back at the time. Yep, and I remember sitting in that 57 Chevy at 7 years old when he was 12 for hours listening to the radio. And that old car smell. Yeah.
I
good
remember
times.
you and Mick pulling me, learning how to water ski behind a little 8-foot tin boat with a, I don't even know, it was a kicker.
Yeah.
And Mick, you're fine, just hold on, we'll go faster.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's standing on the shore shaking his head.
Yeah, many good times. Thank you everybody for coming.
He kept the tip of my finger off the action.
Thanks for telling me.
You should have been warned.
I think I remember that the accident.
Yes, I do.
I didn't step in and say no.
That was, I think, right after the go-kart was sitting close by too. I think the go-kart was ripping around.
I think we actually dared Mick to do it.
You might have.
See if we can get Chris to do that. We knew Jody would do it.
It's open to anyone else who wants to share a story or two. If not, we have a lunch ready for everyone, ready pretty soon here.
A little bit.
Yeah. So just want to thank to everyone for coming out and making the trek out here. It's a lot, and I'm sure you would have loved to see everyone out in one place again as well. So.
Well done.